get started, Claire.
I am ready.
All right, it looks like Brendan's got the live stream going, so you're all set.
Thank you so much. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the March 25th, 2021 meeting of the CB6 Affairs and Business and Licensing Committee. My name is Claire Brennan, and I am the chair of this committee. This meeting is called to order at 6:32 p.m. Tonight, we are joined by Assistant District Manager Cody Osterman, and we will also have the pleasure of welcoming Community Associate Brendan Berth, who will be temporarily taking over Cody's position while we figure out a new hire. And again, just wishing Cody the best and happy that you're here for our last meeting, right? Yes, so we'll make it a good one, but again, you've been such a resource to this committee and we're really happy to have had you and wish you the best in your new endeavor. Members of the public, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of the Zoom. If there's time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. So Susan, thank you so much. Susan has volunteered for taking minutes tonight. You should all have received several emails from the board office with a link of a doodle sign-up sheet to take minutes throughout this year. For your convenience, the link for this committee is also being posted in the chat right now. Thank you, Cody, for doing that. At the direction of the board chair, each committee meeting must have a designated minutes taker and a designated backup just in case. To eliminate the guesswork, make sure that you volunteer for as many slots on the doodle sign-up sheet as you can. If more than 2 people sign up for a particular month, the office will make sure to distribute the duties equitably and will let you know in advance which months your due date is to take minutes. If you have not already filled out the doodle, please do so right away. I think our committee is in good standing with the submissions, but if you want to add your name to other slots, please do. And the link is in the chat. So now would be a good time to fill it out. We will now take attendance by roll call. Cody will conduct the roll call.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, when I call your name, please unmute yourself and say present if you're here. Kyle Athayde.
Present.
Matt Bondy.
Present.
Claire Brennan.
I'm here.
Dan Devine.
Present.
Jeannie D'Onofrio. Charles Fernandez.
Present.
Paige Judge.
Here.
Okay. John Keller.
Present.
Anton Malner.
Present.
Kevin O'Keefe.
Present.
Frank Scala. Seema Shah.
Present.
Susan Steinberg.
Present.
All right, that's 12 of 13 members present, which is a quorum.
Thank you so much, Cody. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and members. It should be coming up on the screen before you. If there's no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting this agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom. I don't see any hands raised. I do hear some feedback. I'm not sure. Okay, thank you. Yep, seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from the February 25th committee meeting were distributed ahead of time. If there is no objection, we will adopt these minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting these minutes, you may raise your hand through Zoom now. And thank you to Dan for doing these minutes. I don't see any hands raised, so now I'll just set some ground rules that you all are familiar with at this point, but we need to say them. And so the first one is no one may speak until granted the floor. Secondly, committee members, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click the participants icon, the participants panel should appear and you will find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click the chat icon in order to relay your difficulty to any of us. But speaking of the chat function, it should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. The chat really could only be used to alert us of any technical difficulties you are having, or to state in writing information like an email address or details of an event that you announced that was already stated out loud on the record during the meeting. When a committee member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you and you can unmute yourself so that you can speak. We are required by executive order to create a verbatim transcript of the meeting, so please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. So the order of the agenda is going to be adopted and followed in the order that it was sent out. The first item is a group that was invited to join us last month, and they neglected to show up, but hopefully they're here tonight. And it's for a new wine, beer, and cider license for TD Restaurant NY operating at 1030 2nd Avenue. Are the representatives of that spot here?
Yes, and they've got their hand raised.
Excellent. So that is TD Restaurant. You can unmute yourself and just walk us through your application, and then I'll field questions from the board.
Hello, yes,
Hi.
we are here, hi. Yes.
I don't know, you cannot see us, right?
We can't see you, but we can hear you. And
Yeah, I
that's,
think something wrong with the camera.
that's okay. If that's okay with you, we don't.
What time? Wine and beer, yes, this one, okay, 11:30. Usually we close 10, but when people leave, it's gonna be 11, you know? Kitchen closed 10, yes. Okay, yeah. Outdoor space, excuse me, I'm sorry. We have outdoor space we got the permit for outdoor space. Okay.
That was like during the COVID.
COVID-19, yes, that's right.
Do you plan on having tables on the sidewalk or in the room?
On the front, it's a sidewalk, yeah, through to the table.
Okay. Do you mind introducing yourself? Sorry, what are your names?
Okay, my name is Türkan Dogan. Yeah, I'm owner of the restaurant.
I am her
And my
husband.
husband next to me, Ali Dogan.
Mhm.
He's trying to help me out with the connection and,
My name is Ali Dogan, Ali Baba.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. What type of restaurant are you opening?
This is Turkish Mediterranean restaurant.
Mhm. That's great.
And
Okay, so yeah, if those are the details that you want to share with our committee, we can open it up to questions.
I mean, it's family restaurant and I'm a mother of 4. After that, I tried to get into business, my kids got bigger and I need to, after that,
Yeah.
I open up and work,
Mhm.
and
So this is your
Start-
first foray.
I try to, in this pandemic, I got nerves, let me say, to get into business.
Yeah.
Everybody was closing and, closing down, shutting off. And I said, let me cook some healthy foods for people around us, fresh,
Mhm.
like home cook style, like a
Mhm.
mom cooked,
That's, yes, a beautiful
clean,
thing.
hygienic.
She
And I
make
think
all the appetizer, all the, she make
Like-
her stuff.
Yeah, prepare.
that's great. Yes, we wish you the best.
Thank you.
That's
And
the space, yes.
I want to open questions up to members of our committee to see if they have more specific questions, but we really
All right.
appreciate you being here. And John Keller was the first to put his hand up.
First of all, I was just walking by there the other day, and I'm just so glad to see something new. It's so sad the Premier Cleaners next door to you, which I went to for years and years, has closed, and I think another spot has closed, and then you go down the next block, the old Mangeoire has closed, and so it's so nice. Are you any relationship? It would be the substantive question to the previous Taksim.
Oh,
That you-
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any, idea who are they, who were they, and
Oh, it's a great
they
restaurant.
closed them before, but long time ago, before us,
Wow.
like,
Well, welcome and good luck. Thank you.
thank you, like, I'm sure they were good, better, or, we are trying to do our best. Thank you so much for the comments.
Yeah, that's all we can do these days. So
Yeah.
Anton, my vice chair, has a question.
Yes, yes. I did walk by the other day, and I'm sure I'll be going back to get something to eat. But I have a question on your application. You indicated you didn't have a C of O. Have you obtained that?
What is that? CO? I don't know. What is that?
Certificate of occupancy.
Oh, yes.
It's under the 60 people. I don't know. You need for the that.
Their attorney submitted a letter of no objection from the Department of Buildings in lieu of a C of O. The building must be old enough that it doesn't have one.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that, but I thought if under 70 people, you need that also.
I'm not sure, but if the attorney submitted something and there was no objection
Oh,
from
okay,
the Department of Buildings, I presume you're okay on the C of O.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Because this happened, this building, this place is closed more than a year, and they shut off the gas, and we tried to open back. It was too hard to open back. Takes us more than a year because it was gas leak something or more than New York law. It's after 6 months you close. You have to apply everything back new. So we changed the whole system in kitchen gas line, and we applied the building department, fire department, Con Edison, everything we applied the new. And so everybody came, they inspect place, and we passed through the inspection. So they give yes.
Okay, good luck
Yeah.
to you.
Thank you.
Okay, and Jeannie has a question for you all.
Thank you. I have a question. I'm a little confused about the restaurant site. Was this previously Alibaba closed down and now you're taking over the restaurant?
Which Alibaba you saying?
So there are several Alibabas. There's Alibaba Terrace on 2nd Avenue. And was this site, the restaurant that you're opening now, was that also Alibaba before you took it over?
No, it was used to be Taksim and then Zeytun, something other restaurant. Alibaba Terrace is me.
Okay.
I'm still this business open. I'm running business. But
Okay.
my wife, she wants to do her own business.
Oh,
So
okay.
we got this place for my wife, and I
Got
try to help her because she's new in New York. I try to help her get the business.
Yeah, he has more experience than me. So he's helping out.
Yeah,
Well, you
I
have a
try
good
to.
teacher then. You have a good teacher.
Thank you. I try to help her, but she make her own recipe. Everything she make her own.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I see Paige has a question as well. Paige, you're on mute, so. Or maybe that quest has.
This is.
What is that?
I'm wondering if, so Paige, you don't have a question, right?
Okay, that is of object. Approve.
Do any members of the public want to ask a question to
Okay.
these folks? Seeing none.
Oh,
There, it
Jim,
looks like Paige has unmuted.
Oh, Paige, okay,
sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Ally,
sorry.
Page, I'd like to know, are you going to correct make it handicapped accessible? It wasn't really when Taksim was there.
Handicap, yes, I think that we have door.
No, it's very difficult to get in for a handicapped person. Believe me, I went to Taksim's for years.
Okay, I will check it then about what you talking about. Is go in or an inside?
Outside, like to get into the restaurant.
There is a ramp in front of the
We have
door.
a ramp by the door for wheelchair.
There wasn't.
Now we have it.
Now you have it. Okay, fine. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have it, yes.
Thank you.
It would be great if you could just send our office those pictures to confirm.
Yes, I will,
Yeah, I don't doubt you, but it would
yes.
be great to have that confirmation.
Sure.
But other than that, I'm not seeing any more questions from our committee or from the public, so
Motion of no objection.
I see your motion of no objection.
I'll second that.
Seconded.
And it was seconded by, I heard Seema. So yeah, we will be in touch, or the office will, and if you could send your photos that affirm that you all are.
We should send email or
Yep, email would be great. If you don't have our email, it should have been coming from the office, remind you to attend this meeting, so
Okay.
you can find that, but we can also easily send you a follow-up too.
Yeah, you don't mind, you can send.
Please, yeah, you send us follow-up, so we take picture, upload it, and send it back to you, please, if you can do that.
That's not a problem. We'll do
Please,
that.
thanks. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here tonight and answering our questions, and we wish you the best of luck in your.
Thank you, everyone. Thank
you
you.
so much for your comments, and
Make sure be
we'll
safe,
try our best.
healthy, be safe, healthy, everyone.
Yes.
All right.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We can
Bye-bye.
close now?
Yep, you are free to go unless you want to hang out with us for the
Thank you,
rest of your night.
No, we're gonna cook now. We have.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, well, thanks. Goodbye.
Claire, did you want to vote? Do you want to do it how you did it last time, where you just ask if anyone has any? That's how you want to do it?
If anyone has an objection to approving their new wine, beer, and cider license, I will give you all a few seconds to raise your hand, but otherwise we're just going to take everyone as a unanimous vote. Seeing no objections from the committee, this passes here, and we need someone to write these resolutions. If you can.
I'll write them, Claire.
Thank you, Jeannie. That is very kind of you. I know that minutes taking is a big ask, but another ask is to write resolutions. And having been on a bunch of committees on CV6, I think this committee's resolutions are the most straightforward and easy to do. So I would encourage others to step up.
That's why I signed up. That's why I said I'll do it.
Yes, I know, but still, it takes a little time, but I think
No problem. My pleasure.
hopefully others have to share. But Jeannie, you are the best, and we really appreciate you stepping up here. So TD Restaurant, I see your hand up, but I think that's.
Yeah, hello. I'm sorry, I have question. How long it takes for us to get the license approved and, to receive the paperwork, to hang it or, yeah.
Our portion of the process does not take long, within the next week or two, you'll probably get an approval from us, especially if Jeannie's doing it. She is on top of things. And
okay.
But the state process, I'm less keen on, and I think that there have been a lot of delays due to the COVID virus.
I understand. Yeah.
I'm not sure if Cody has anything additional to add to that, but
I would just say to speak with your attorney to see where they are in the process of filing. The SLA will ask us for comment, and the vote that you just saw needs to go to the full membership of the community board for a vote. And once that's done, we will have an official comment to give to the liquor authority. So you should speak with your attorney.
Okay, thank you. All right.
okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again. Good question. So the second item on our agenda is a new on-premises license for the Bard East 39th LLC, which is operating at 24 East 39th Street. And they are going to be known as the Shakespeare. So if folks representing this entity are here, please unmute yourself and walk us through your application before we get questions from the committee.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Ferry, and I will be taking over the Shakespeare British Pub and Restaurant in the Williams Hotel at 24 East 39th Street. I actually worked there when it first opened, 2014. Then I went off and opened several other locations of my own. This will be our 6th. So I've got a great history with the spot. I always loved the bar. We're basically going to keep it exactly as it is, operating as a food-focused English pub. Nothing's really changing with it.
Okay. Thank you for being here and thank you for that report. I'd like to open up to committee members if there are any questions from members of the committee. Please raise your hand on Zoom. Kyle.
Yeah, not a question, just a comment. I was a frequent patron of the Shakespeare, especially when I was walking to the library on Fifth Avenue. So just wanted to say it was a very well-run operation and was I think a real big benefit to our community. So however we can support it, I would endorse that.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful thing. And as a Hunter College alumna myself, I would affirm Kyle's statement. So I think we appreciate you being here, but for many ringer questions, I do want to open it up to members of the public too, just to see if they have any questions or comments, but I don't see any questions from the public. So it might be time for a motion soon.
I'll make a motion of no objection.
I'll second that.
And Anton seconded. So Kyle did the motion of no objection and Anton seconded it. Kyle, any interest in writing the reso or does Jeannie just want to do the whole slate?
Yeah, I could do it. Whatever Jeannie prefers.
You know what, Kyle, I'll just do the whole slate. That's fine.
Okay.
I'll be on a roll. That's good.
You are on a roll.
Thank
Jeannie.
you.
Thank you for doing that. Okay, so if no one on our committee has an objection to a resolution of no objection, then we'll pass it forward, but I'll give you all 5 or 10 seconds to raise your hand to object. Seeing no objections, this passes. And Jeannie, thank you for writing this one. Next up, we have a new wine, beer, and cider license for Pink Moose United Plaza Incorporated, which is operating at Dan Hammarskjöld Plaza Park. This was a little bit of a unique application that I haven't witnessed in my time in this role yet. So I think you all can walk us through this application, but the committee will have a few questions as well.
Claire, this applicant isn't present.
Oh,
I emailed them early on when we saw as people were coming in. And then I just stepped away while you guys were discussing to try to give them a call. Then I had their representative and the principal, neither answered the phone. So I'm sorry to report that we can hopefully follow up and figure out what if there was some sort of mix up or something, but they didn't indicate that they could not make it. They asked to join tonight's meeting. So unclear what happened on their end.
Things happen and it's totally fine, and we'll meet next week. So hopefully they can join us there. And honestly, I would love to do a little more research on kind of that whole setup, because hopefully everyone on the committee did read their application, but they're trying to do something in Dag Hammarskjöld Plaza, which seems like it could be really awesome, but might also elicit some complaints if it goes past certain hours or plays music too loud. So in advance of our next meeting, I would definitely highlight this application to go through if you haven't this one, but hopefully they join us next month. So next is 192 TM Third Tavern LLC, which is asking for a corporate change of an existing on-premises license operating at 192 3rd Avenue. And I see you all here tonight, so thank you for joining us. And excuse me, if you don't mind just walking us through your application before we open it.
Sure. My name is Mike Brennan. I've worked at Triona since we opened there about 8 years ago now. I've been with Triona for about 12 years. So basically she's getting out of the business and I just kind of want to take it over. Not changing anything, just running it exactly as is. I'm basically here all the time anyway, so it would just be the exact same operation. We're running with the same menu, same hours of operations. Don't know if there's any other questions really on that now. For anyone that's not familiar with the place, I mean, I could talk further.
Yeah, so I will open it up to questions from our committee first, and then there might be some questions from the public, but either group, committee members, members of the public, please raise your hand through Zoom and we'll take your questions here. But it seems like a pretty simple handoff. You're not asking for any changes to what has been in the past. So do you all have open dining during COVID? Have you set that up?
We have our street dining set up on the street. All my tables are on the street except for 3 small tables of 2 are on the sidewalk. I've been open this whole time on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm currently open indoor and outdoor. Yeah.
And so are you hoping to take advantage of open dining?
I'd like to continue doing the street for as long as I can anyway, you know. As long as the city allows us to.
Yeah.
It's been a rough year, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, we really feel for you all, so.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I don't see any questions from our committee. And none from the attendees. So I'm just looking, thank you, Cody, for pulling up the street view. So unfortunately it, really, we don't have a lot of outdoor dining space.
And this is an older picture. I have it enclosed now with a roof over it on the street, similar to the other setups up and down 3rd Avenue. I mean, it's not, it is what it is. Like, I mean, I followed all the regulations. It's been inspected several times by the city and it's up, everything is above code and it's been good. I mean, thank God we had it this winter, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some concerns that come up with the kind of full enclosures are that seats aren't necessarily fully 6 feet it apart. And
I don't have the full enclosure. The whole street side is completely opened, and on the south side there's a window opened. So there's only two sides of it enclosed. I also have the tables 6 feet apart with partitions in between the tables as well to help. I mean, I feel I've made it as safe as I can. None of the tables are closer than 6 feet together.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, if that's any help now, I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, no, it is great to hear the details and your work to kind of commit to social distancing and the safest way to open in these really trying times. So, yeah, I don't see any questions from panelists or the committee, but there might be a motion that someone wants to share.
Motion of no objection.
Second.
Who seconded that? Sorry.
John.
John. Thank you, John. That's great. Sorry. So this will pass in our committee, and as Cody had said, it'll go to the full board eventually, but
thank you so much.
It will pass there, and then we'll be able to send you documents approving.
Thank you so much.
This, our views. So thank you for being here, and good luck moving forward.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much for everyone.
Excuse me. So now we are going into, I think that's all we had.
Claire, did you want to do a up and down on that as well?
Thank you. Sorry, Cody. So if there is anyone who objects to motion to approve their application, please speak now by raising your hand, or you could do it vocally. Seeing none, this passes. And now it is my report. I have a few things to update you all on, but this will be short for sure. The one thing is that I recently got an email from Gail Brewer talking about saving Manhattan small businesses. I'm not sure if anyone else read that, excuse me, or went through that. I think it was released earlier this month. Oh, Susan, did you want to talk about something?
Actually, I had two questions. I couldn't get who seconded the first item. People were talking faster than I could figure out who was making a motion, who was seconding it. So on the first,
Susan, it was me. It was Seema.
Okay, you seconded.
I seconded the motion. Yes.
Okay, and who made the motion on the Trianon bar? The original, who made the original motion? John seconded it, but I don't know who made the motion.
I was confused.
Was it Kyle?
I think Kyle did.
Oh, really? On the 192 3rd Avenue?
I couldn't speak for him. Sorry.
Kyle made the motion on the Shakespeare.
Ah, you're right.
I made the motion on the 192.
Okay, that's what I need. Thank you, Anton. That's it.
So for my report, I received, and I'm sure you all did too, an email that had a PDF from Gail Brewer from earlier this month that was called Saving Manhattan Small Businesses, a Roadmap for Recovery. And I think it's really interesting. I am sorry for, excuse me, not sending it out when I saw it to you all, but I would be happy to after this meeting. And if someone was willing to kind of like sift through it and give a brief report at our next meeting, that would be appreciated. And we can see if there are any resolutions that are applicable to our committee that we could pass after delving into the report a bit. It's not too long at all. It is 12 pages, but I see Kyle's hand up, so he might want to chime in here too.
Yeah, so I was gonna volunteer to do that because we've been working closely with the other community boards and with the borough president on that. So I'll be more than happy to do a little summary or 101 of the report. I got a mailed copy of it today actually as well, so I'll mail my notes in it.
Right.
But with that, actually, I want to build on that because next week you got the emails about this as well. We're doing a series of different virtual events with various community boards in Manhattan Community Board in Manhattan. So I'm actually hosting the next one, which is on Tuesday on small businesses. So it's about pricing out mom and pop. So how, the housing market has priced out a lot of small businesses. So we have a really great set of panelists, including the borough president who will be speaking at it, and some small businesses from our district as well. Many of you remember Brian Owens, who came to us as part of the Restaurant Row East Alliance very early on in the pandemic to talk about the issues that many small businesses were facing in the district. So he'll be on it as well as the heads of some bids as well. So I encourage everybody to attend that and to share that out as well, because you can actually submit questions in advance. So we can, build upon that at our next meeting too.
That's great. Thank you for the invite, Cody. And I will be there, and I encourage this committee to attend as well. And we're looking forward to your report back next month.
Question on that for Kyle. I tried to share it from an email. Is there a link that you could share that I could post on my social media accounts? Because I tried to do it through the Manhattan Community Board website will come up on Facebook, on the Facebook page. But is there a specific link that I can use to share that meeting?
You want the specific hyperlink? So
Yeah.
Cody put it in the chat box, so you can copy that link if you just want to put the link.
Yeah.
But on our socials, we have the flyers up as well.
Okay, great. Because I get the registration page if I click on one of the links. So I was trying to do it the other day or yesterday, and I couldn't figure out how to get I don't think I had the right link.
Yeah, so Cody put it, and he put the tiny URL, so it's not a whole long.
Okay, great. Thank you.
For Zoom, and then so you can do it there.
That's best for reposting. Just.
Oh, okay. So this is my question. I see that, but it's not like the flyer. With the color, and explains the purpose of the meeting.
Oh, so I'm confused. So you're having a problem with the flyer itself or with the link?
Right. I wanted to share that with the community, like in my social media.
So it should be available. It's on our Twitter account. It's on our Facebook account as well. So
posting it now.
Okay, thanks.
So Cody has put the post down there, so you can link it down there.
Great, thanks a lot.
Yeah, and we've coordinated with the rest of the community board, so they're putting it out through their networks and doing dedicated email blasts and all of that. So
sorry, it's coming up as page does not exist. I don't know why.
It's getting the same thing. But we can.
Anyway, if you could do
Yeah, so we'll redo it. And so just check out the social account as well, because we'll continue to post it on a daily basis till Tuesday, just to ramp up registrations and questions and get it
great. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. Thanks, Kyle. So another issue to discuss is the group who didn't show tonight after not showing last week as well. And I was just wondering if people have opinions on that. I feel inclined to, if we're asked about them by the state, to say the truth, that they had 2 moments to come. And honestly, Cody, correct me if I'm wrong, but they, after our second attempt, and reminded them that we had previously invited them and encouraged them to come tonight, they were eager to come, but they're still not here.
Tonight's no-show, the Doug Hammarskjöld applicant, is new for this month. They were not on the agenda last month. The 2 no-shows from last month were here tonight. TD Restaurant New York Inc. and Trionis 192 3rd Avenue. So both of those no-showed. The attorney apologized, had some sort of issue, and both of his clients showed up today. Pink Moose LLC, whatever they are, was applying for Doug Hammarskjöld. That came in for this month. We can give them, well, it's up to you, but that they just, for point of reference there, this is their first time.
Their first time, exactly. Okay, so.
Hey, just my thinking on that, I mean, if they don't show, I mean, they eventually have to show, they need that reso, right? I mean, they just can't. So whether they come now or 6 months down the road, does it really matter to us? I mean, they have to eventually get through us to get something to the SLA, right?
Right, so I think that their SLA deadlines are in accordance of them showing up to us. So I think that once they get a date from the SLA, or they get a date that they want to see the SLA, they then talk to us and try to get our approval. So I'm under the impression that it's all within the same timeline. But if we don't hear from the SLA asking about a business who didn't show up to us, then
it's their loss. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's necessary to not let them come back if they miss 2, 3, whatever meetings, correct? Because they need us eventually at some point anyway, correct?
Right.
So
yes,
they may just not be ready to present, or the data's changed or whatever with SLA, but it would be nice as a courtesy that they let us know they couldn't come to a meeting.
That is for sure. But just, I'll let you all go pretty soon, but thinking about the Pink Moose situation, I hope you all read their application, but has anyone, so I think that we're under the impression that in the past there has been some sort of, food vendor and service at Dag Hammarskjöld Plaza, and I was not a part of the committee during that time, so I don't really know what happened with that, but just seeing their application, I had more questions than normal in terms of like having an open space and their like music selections. They said DJ, live music kind of, and that is something that I would love to support, but I also could see community members not wanting to, and once it's intact, having kind of complaints come up. So I'm wondering if anyone has any thoughts about it or remembers a different vendor that had set up at Dag Hammarskjöld in the past.
This is Seema. I'm happy to jump in. So I actually, I've lived not too far away for like almost a decade, and I actually don't remember anyone. So I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that, but I do go to Pink Moose pretty often. I think like the other location, I'm trying to remember, it might literally just be like a block outside our jurisdiction. I think it's on 59th or between 59th and 60th. Yeah. And I go to there all the time. Like I've met the owner a bunch. I know he's like really keen on making the best experience for his customers and has tried during COVID to, to do that as well. So I in no way am I speaking about his ability to, we should definitely question him, when he comes in or with his attorney or whatever, but I can just speak that he is like a community oriented small business owner who, has tried pretty hard to, make the ambiance and the environment there feel safe and things like that. Yeah. Okay. So Cody says, I think it actually is, I think it is just in our district. It seems like.
Hey guys, can I jump in too? It's Matthew. Hi everybody. They do have a concession there at Dag Hammarskjöld, closer to First, and it's it looks like a little cafe, and I wonder if that's what they plan on using. But I was going to ask what it is that they propose, because I wasn't quite sure. But the notion that there would be a live DJ there is a little bit troublesome to me, because it is a very family-oriented place too, especially with COVID. There are a lot of kids over there running around, and to the extent that it becomes a very popular place, with the people expanding further and further into the park because there's a DJ and a big outdoor party, it's only going to take away from the ability of other people to use it, and so that's just something that I would be concerned about. And then another thought and comment that I had with respect to something that was addressed here at the meeting tonight was with respect to applicants that don't show up. And I think that if Kyle doesn't know, or Cody, it's something that should be looked into, because I always was under the impression that an applicant could bypass us and go to the board, to the state liquor authority, by not, the thought was that we should hear applicants at the committee meeting and understand what they're doing and work with them with respect to the times that their windows will be closed or what their hours of operations would be, and stipulate to that, because if we didn't, they could go to the SLA and get a 4 o'clock license rather than a 2, and our input would then be mooted by them going straight to the SLA. So I wonder, it was always the practice, as far as I understood, that if an applicant didn't appear, they would be denied for not showing up, and that way that the SLA would know, rather than waiting for the SLA to get back to us saying, hey, we never heard from you. It was more of a proactive approach with the SLA to let them know that the applicant didn't show up to the community board.
Yeah, I think that was what I thought too. Just like if they hadn't showed up the second.
So I can jump in
Nice.
here. I was raising my hand just to make sure we were waiting for the time. So just to provide some context to it, right? So we put our BASA guidelines and policies together, which lives on the website as well. What we said at the time was that if an applicant did not show up and did not provide us with some explanation as to why they did not show up, and remember, this is when we were meeting in person, that they would get a negative resolution. This wouldn't be about, and many of you have seen this the resolution, it wouldn't be like, oh, they're a bad operator. It would be to the fact that they did not show up to the meeting on so-and-so date when they were supposed to. That essentially motivates the applicant to either A, show up to the meeting, or B, to, reach out to us proactively to say, hey, like there were issues where, the small business owner or the legal representative even maybe had childcare issues, or, something just, got lost in the mail that we were understanding of, especially if there was no, time limit on their licensing. This is obviously a little bit different in pandemic times, so there might need to be a slight change to it. Of course, we want to be very supportive to our business as well, but we also want to be respectful to our role in this process and the fact that there is a process. So as an applicant applies to the SLA looks to see if the community board has made a comment on that applicant. So at that point, and Cody gets these emails, and Claire will get them as well, to say, hey, we received this application. They're saying community board had no comment on this. Was there no comment? And at that point, we can explain to them they did not show up to the meeting. So this kind of goes to Matt's point of like, if they, decide to circumvent or whatever it might be. So this is up to the committee to kind of decide how, and to the chair, how they want to proceed. If you want to create a provision that kind of gives, this sort of grace period, like, okay, we understand if you, two-strike rule, you miss the first one, but if you don't show up twice, especially in time where you can connect by Zoom to this meeting, you can let us know proactively. We let all of the applicants know ahead of time, that their renewals are up or anything like that. So it kind of goes up to the committee how you want to proceed with this process. So I think it's fair to say, hey, you missed one meeting. We'll reach out to you to say, hey, can you show up to the next meeting? I don't think it's fair for an applicant to say, oh, I missed it, but also I need you to vote on this because I need to submit this in a week. And that's, when I was the chair of the committee, I have these discussions with businesses too, where I'd say, hey, either we'll hold you over to the next month's meeting where you can come in and we'll listen to you without judgment. But if you want to do it within the next week, you will have to go without our comment because you did not appear at the meeting that you were supposed to appear at. So that's kind of how this goes. Again, the point that Matt was getting to is that in the case that we vote against the applicant and say, this is not a good operation for X, Y, and Z reasons, they are still able to apply to the SLA despite our negative resolution to try their hand at it. But of course, as we know, the state really values what the community board says on certain applicants because we have such a thorough process in it. So hopefully that provides some context as to the applicants not appearing. And then just to the second point about the proposed applicant in Dag Hammarskjöld Plaza, I just remember for the longest time it being sort of like a grab and go cafe type place for people who were, headed out to work and need to grab some breakfast or anything like that. And then especially on weekends, just kind of being open as a more of an outdoor cafe type thing. So I definitely think that going to Seema's point, I'm sure that this, applicant is a really great, operator and will definitely take into consideration our questions and concerns and comments. But it will, going to Matt's point, really change the vibe of that particular location from this sort of relaxing place for families to just kind of, have leisure time to something that might, attract a different type of customer base that turns that whole plaza into like a dance party or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not saying one way or the other if that's a good or bad, but that's definitely something to discuss with the applicant.
Sounds good. Thank you for that context, Kyle. And maybe I'll put on the agenda for next month to have folks go over our current procedures and if there are suggestions for how to handle it in a COVID world. Because honestly, I think that there was definitely a lull in applications and now we're seeing more and more. And I think that this is a big part of them getting their licenses and they have to show up. And if they don't, we have to note it somehow. So
yeah, and just as another procedural thing that I just remembered. So, and again, this is kind of weird for pandemic world. Every applicant, whether they were new or renewal, had to post our signage on their physical door, their window, to inform the community that, hey, we're showing up at community board in 1 month, 2 weeks, whatever, to discuss a proposed bar or restaurant at this particular location so that there was adequate public outreach for that. So if they're not showing up, they're not necessarily letting the public know, because I would assume that on their signage they'd say, hey, there's a meeting in 2 weeks. So they should know that they have a meeting in 2 weeks. So
that's for sure. Okay. Thanks, Kyle. I see Paige has her hand up.
Okay. I have a couple of things about the signage. Yes, it's supposed to post that it's going to be a meeting, but I have seen signages and it can be any place. It doesn't have to be on the actual facility. I've seen them at the bus stops on those moving things that says there'll be not in our community, but up in community 8. They do that quite a bit. So yes, there should be the signage. Second thing about Boss's
all right, Paige, just to get back to that first point. So you see signage from like the equivalent committee to ours saying that these.
I see signage when it says, let's say it's a business, let's say it's the Black Sheep. It's going to be at our meeting. At those bus stands where they have all the advertisements. They will have Black Sheep will be meeting on such and such a date. But I have not seen it in our particular venue, but I've seen it uptown.
Okay.
So, I mean, there are different ways. It doesn't have to only be on the business. It can be other places. It can be in the store next door. It can be in a vacant, you know, they could stick it on a lamppost, you know, even though that's illegal, but you know.
Yeah, Paige, we actually do that. We advertise all
I'm not saying we don't do it, but I'm just saying, I'm just
on
pointing
LinkedIn.
out with the signage.
I just want to make sure we do advertise that. We do say, you know, BASA is listening to applications in, you know, 1 week on March 25th.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, you just made comment, I'm making comment back, you know. The second thing is with the BASA policies. I have the draft in front of me from years ago, but many years ago, we were lucky enough to have the SLA attend our meeting. And we found out quite a bit, and they told us that if they don't show up, they want our input, that we can just tell them that we're going to just issue a negative resolution. And if they want to have it, they can contest it. They can come back. You know, they can come back. We're not saying that they can't come back. They just get a negative resolution that will go to the SLA. It's up to them. I'm not saying at this time with COVID, but I'm saying in the future. That's the way we used to do it. And with Dog Harbor Show Plaza, there have been many issues with Dog Harbor Show. There has been about 4 or 5 different owners that have had venues in that little grab and go place. One of the biggest one was the footage across from the church. The other one was the proximity to the buildings on 46th Street, you know, the noise. So we have never allowed having DJs because of that. So like, those are things that should be considered, you know. It shouldn't be a dance party. You've got neighbors and you've got, you know, other people to respect.
Absolutely. And that's why I just wanted to flag it. I know you all read all of the applications in advance of the meeting, but that one definitely like raised some eyebrows from me. And I hope that they'll come and answer our questions and provide more clarity. But that is great intel. Paige, I see Dan has his hand up.
Yeah, so thanks for all the clarification about the process. But my question around that is, will or in the past has the SLA approved restaurants, bars, liquor licenses in the instance that there is no resolution on our end?
That's a good question.
What's their procedure around it?
So they reach out to us and ask for comment if they have not already received comment in the form of a resolution saying like there is a hearing on X date for this, you have X amount of days to submit comment. So I cannot remember a situation where we submitted comment, either no objection or objection that they, well, I'll take a step back. I can't imagine a situation or remember one where we've not responded to that and they've proceeded anyway. They give us a window to respond to, they alert us and we say, they attended, here's the resolution. They didn't attend, they attended, here's a negative resolution anyway, and those things happen. So they always give us a window to respond.
Right, but I guess, and maybe you answered it and I just didn't understand, but then if we wrote back to them and said, yeah, but they didn't show up, so we have no resolution, have there been instances that that applicant has been approved by the SLA?
I can't recall one where that's happened. Anytime that we've said they haven't come, the SLA has generally asked them to come and say, like, could you not make it? What was the issue? And then ask them to come. The same thing happens, and this has actually happened, where an applicant didn't know about the 30-day notice requirement, and they've just applied straight to the SLA, and the SLA looks at their application and says, like, I don't see proof that you sent a 30-day notice form to the community board. Did you? And the applicant says, I didn't know I had to do that. And then the SLA turns to them and says, okay, you have to do that now. We will not process the application any further until you give the community board that 30-day window to ask you to come in and produce comment on your application.
Got it. So then I guess the question is, and I think I may have been here for the original, guidelines that we set, but why a number of years ago did we set the guidelines? What was the precedent of setting the guidelines for the applicants to be rejected if they didn't show up? And especially based on how you're describing it, Cody, and your, assiduous former history, PhD, institutional knowledge, I'm sure there must have been some reason for us to establish that in the past. Does anybody recall?
Yes.
I think
Well,
that
I remember discussing this, and Dan, you were there, and this was when Kyle was the chair, and we promulgated the website regulations or expectations with respect to the applicants. And I think a lot of it, at least in my mind, had to do with respecting the process. And if the applicants weren't going to come before us, then we had an obligation to say, well, listen, you had a couple of chances, you know what the process is, and because you don't respect the process, we're going to issue a negative resolution against you. And while I'm talking, I just wanted to mention something about the posting. There are several community boards that post. I'm familiar with what Community Board 8 does, and they would posting was a big deal for them for every single committee meeting that they had across committees. And it took a lot of time, it took a lot of resources, it took a lot of volunteers, and it took a lot of work from the board office. And they would actually post on light poles because as a government agency, they were allowed to. At least I understand that they were allowed to. But and it created some issue with the Doe Fund, who would rip them down, So no sooner would it be posted, but the Doe Fund would rip it down, thinking that it was an illegal posting. But that would also, I think, generate a lot of community input. People would walk by like Paige and see them at the bus stop or on the light pole or whatever, and care about the issue and the meeting and come to the meeting, to hear about what was going on. So Paige, I've seen them before too. I know that Community Board 5 does it, and Community Board 8 does it, but it is a really big undertaking. And in fact, so much so that they used to require the applicant to do it themselves and then take pictures of it. So it may be something to consider at our next meeting when we take up those regulations.
That is a very interesting point. I could see how, roles could be divided in that, but I think that this is a great ongoing conversation that we can keep talking about next month. And if people have other ideas of how to kind of definitely get more attendees from the public to our meetings, especially ones who live around the businesses that are coming to us. And I think that we probably have a diverse, map of where we all live. And if it's like 20 minutes to post a few posters, that could be great, but we can also put the onus on the business owners as well. So let's have a kind of deeper discussion about this, and everyone can look at the link that Cody just posted in the chat, and I'll send a follow-up email to our committee about these kind of details and the conversation that we'll have next month. But I think it's all good questions, and it will only bring better participation and discussion to our committee going forward. Matt had his hand up, but I'm not sure if that was from what you just mentioned.
Oh no, that was what I just addressed. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. My last point is, and I feel bad, but I haven't really been able to dive into this today. But the mayor also had an announcement with various people from Broadway today, and maybe Kyle knows a little bit more, but the big highlight that I saw was that folks who work on Broadway are going to have like better access to vaccine testing exclusively for them, and also are going to be eligible for the vaccine. And that is an attempt to open Broadway, as this committee had requested back in the fall before I joined you all. But I want to commend you on that work, and we'll keep you updated as I know more. But if anyone knows any more details about that, you're welcome to speak up now. But it seems like soon we will be able to be heading back to Broadway to some capacity. And you all wrote a resolution to support that, which undoubtedly.
I can provide just like a brief context to it, because also it's not very detailed. So,
yeah.
So the mayor did say that he would like to get Broadway back, running by this fall. Who knows what falls means, if that's September, October, November, whatever. But part of this would require making sure that all of the workers, so not just the actors, but people who are working costumes and makeup and working the theaters as well, would have access to vaccines. So the big issue right now, or I guess the nuance, is that many Broadway workers don't necessarily fulfill the state standards. So the state obviously has put out standards as to who is eligible and what occupations and things like that, which doesn't necessarily cover every single worker on Broadway. So I think that's part of the negotiation now. So in some ways, it's kind of redundant, because you kind of assume as we move further on this year that the eligibility will, obviously expand broader and broader. I believe it's anyone who's 50 or older now, and then additional occupations as well. So even thinking about by this summer, it might be a moot point that there's a difference between state and city standards. But the resolution that we put together was very similar to what they're doing with the movie theaters right now. And we had made that separation because it's a live performance rather than a recorded performance, but that there could be ability to hold things at proportional capacity. So yeah, so that's kind of what the mayor said today, but there isn't anything too detailed except to highlight that nuance between the state and the city.
Thank you, Kyle. And Seema, thank you for posting in the chat the announcement that Cuomo shared of a pilot program that is testing his Excelsior Pass at Madison Square Garden and Barclays Center to allow folks who have been vaccinated to come in and participate in watching basketball and hockey and whatever else happens there. I'm not really familiar, but so that's another thing. And I think that also baseball stadiums are working on a similar program. So these are just updates from us. If we want to kind of write resolutions in support that we haven't yet, we can definitely consider it, and I'll kind of pull together all of this information and whatever else comes up in the next month. It seems like everything is a new update, which is great, but kind of hard to keep up. So I appreciate you all being here and the work that you do. Jeannie, again, thank you for doing the resolutions, and Susan, appreciate you taking tonight. But that's all I have. If anyone from the committee has anything else that they want to raise or add to, the discussion so far. Now is the time. Let me find the list here. I am not seeing any hands, so is there a motion to adjourn this meeting tonight?
Claire,
So
do we have
moved.
to take a final roll call?
Yep. We can do that.
I don't think we take a final
not
roll
on-
call for
No?
committee
Okay.
meetings.
Not on
Right.
committee.
We could, but I see you all still here. So it's okay. Yeah, it's usually just in the beginning. But did John or Seema motion to adjourn?
Else,
So moved.
Okay. So if there are no objections to adjourning the meeting, we will do that now.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks so
Bye.
much
And
for the meeting.